Hey guys, Cody with CJC Off-Road. Today we're going to be doing a recap video for our Power Wagon build. For those of you who have not seen any of our videos, this is basically going to be our how-to guide on building the ultimate Baja Adventure Power Wagon camping rig. I know it's a mouthful, but we built this truck to basically handle all of the fun we could have at a weekend, everything we could throw at it, and as you can tell by these clips, this truck handles it with ease. All right, so for those of you who haven't been following along, this is probably going to be the next update video since we went to Go Fast Campers. For those of you who have not, our company essentially purchased a Power Wagon, took it out, very quickly realized the shortcomings with the Power Wagon platform and wanted to improve upon it. Since then, it's been through a couple iterations and it is currently sitting on the Carli Suspension 3¼ inch Dominator system. What that means is it has 3-inch diameter shocks at all 4 corners, something that is an industry first for the Ram 2500 platform. What that allows us to do is utilize all of the rock crawl functions that come on the stock Power Wagon while allowing us to smash through whoops and do a lot of high-speed off-roading with ease. It also handles and rides extremely well on the highway. You're able to daily drive, etc. and just be in complete comfort. You're able to swerve, so this truck really can do it all. So up front, this truck still has the stock factory switchable sway bar. That's going to allow us in the rock sections and the low speed sections to disconnect that sway bar and get all the front end movement we can. It's going to, if you are a keen observer, you're going to notice at first when we had the pin top system on there, we kept the stock Power Wagon arms. We actually started to tear those extra bushings that are in the Power Wagon arms to allow for more flex. So we switched over to the Carli Suspension fabricated radius arms. Now there's a lot of discussion online as far as this affects the flex or an RTI ramp. Unfortunately, we do not have an RTI ramp on property, but we did use our forklift to determine that there was essentially no loss in articulation and we're able to get full suspension travel out of the front, still in the rock sections, while utilizing Carli Suspension's fabricated radius arm, which improves handling of the truck because we're no longer going to have the weird characteristic under braking where the axle rolls back, as well as these factory bushings that are prone to tearing and wearing on the Power Wagon platform. Now, 3 other vital things to mention on the front axle, first being the Carli Suspension diff guard. That was invaluable when we went south of the border because these roads are so rutted, these grooves are so deep, you're constantly riding a ridge in the center of the road. If we did just have a completely exposed sheet metal differential cover, I can guarantee that on this trip, we would have lost the front differential and we would have had to do some trailside repairs and figure out a way out of that situation. So that's where a simple $200 piece is essentially invaluable. Next, the glaring differential truss, the axle truss. That is required. When you're hitting the bump stops non-stop on these trucks, the AAM axles are very prone to bending, and this truss is going to prevent that. Lastly, for the really keen observers, we actually have the Apex chassis tie rod on the front of this truck. Ironically, a lot of trucks wear out drag links first. For some reason, during our off-road trips, this truck killed the factory tie rod, and there was a ton of play in those joints. So we threw on the Apex tie rod. It is a bolt-in replacement that utilizes all of the factory stabilizer mounting positions. So you don't have to worry about using a specific stabilizer part number, certain clamp, or anything like that. It is a completely bolt-on replacement. And as we found out, survived our last couple off-road trips with ease. So we're gonna give that a thumbs up from us as an extremely good replacement for the factory tie rod. Lastly, up front, we have the Carli Suspension lifetime ball joints. Ram front ends are notorious for blowing out ball joints, especially when you put it through these harsh conditions that we have. Go with the Carli Suspension ball joint. It has a lifetime warranty against wearing out, and it's gonna last the lifetime of the truck. Now moving on to the rear of this truck, again, King 3.0 shocks that are custom tuned. This truck, because of the camper we added, there's a spare tire back there, racks, and all that stuff we're gonna get into. There's an increased rear end weight, so we switched to the Carli R2 rear coil, which is gonna sit us at the perfect ride height while still having this increased payload in the bed. So while some people will ask, will this coil increase my towing capacity? It's not really so simple as that. It is an increased capacity coil to match the Carli Suspension height. So a lot of guys will try to buy these coils. It's not really designed for that. It is designed to be a component of this 3¼ inch system. Lastly, on the rear end, we went with the Thuren fabrication rear track bar. As we've done or shown in our previous video on this track bar, what it does is it does reduce that rear end movement that you experience due to the 5-link suspension design that Dodge put on these 2500 trucks. The benefit of this is, with this camper setup going off-road, the rear end of this truck is consistently cycling through the whole suspension cycle. And what this is going to do is just cut down that movement and cut that kind of wag feel that we experience on these trucks, as well as you would feel on a Jeep if you're experienced with that platform. So we wanted to cut that down, especially when we're going through whoop sections. It just helps keep the truck more planted and more square going through those sections. So we also did make a slight shift on the wheel and tire package on this truck. We went from the RT tires, the 37-1250, with the 5.5-inch Backspace trail readies. We went away from those due to the Dominator rear suspension. Now, very often we preach about high offset numbers and tucking in the 37-1250 to get the maximum clearance. Unfortunately, when we outbound that rear 3.0 shock, we're not quite able to keep the tires tucked in. So we went with a 4.5-inch backspacing trail ready beadlock wheel, and we did the 37x1350 Toyo MT. As far as I'm aware, that is still the highest weight capacity tire in the 37-1350 size, and that's gonna give us no concerns when loading this rig down for camping trips and things like that. But also, as you'll see from these Baja clips, it is actually one of the best tires for off-roading in harsh environments as well. On this trip, in fact, down to Mexico, a ton of other rigs with a couple of the other well-known traction tires, some of the softer tires out there, had plenty of flats. Our rig had 0 flats and was able to smash through whatever we wanted to. Next, rounding out the lighting package on this truck, when we did the last Mojave road run with this truck, we ended up spending a lot of time in the dark on the dirt roads. So we figured we'd throw as much lighting at this truck as possible. So you'll see the Baja Designs LP6 across the front of the Go Fast camper. We also have the Baja Designs Linkable package on the bumper, as well as the CJC Off-Road Fog Light Kit. Now, all this is controlled by the Switch Pro RC12, and that is a 12-button switch panel that is super easy to wire. It cleans up all the wiring. You don't have to place a bunch of relays under the hood. And we actually 3D printed a custom-built mount that puts it in the pen holder above the head unit, and that's going to give you easy access to all your switches. And actually, Switch Pros was kind enough to build us a dual panel unit for the camper, so we have a second panel in the back of the camper, and that's going to allow us to control all the area lighting and things like that from the back of the truck, so it's kind of a really neat package. Now again, this truck has enough lights on it to pretty much signal aliens. However, when you are in the middle of nowhere in completely darkness, it will actually come in very handy, and we have used it many times in the past. Now, we did want to squeeze just a little more light out of the front of this truck, so we opted for the Alpha Rex headlights. Now, what these do is they look really good. They have some really cool lighting fixtures like switchbacks and things like that for the turn signals, but they actually do put out more light than the factory headlights, even on this factory LED equipped truck. And so when you are going down the highway, you have oncoming traffic, you don't want to blind people, and a headlight like this is an excellent option because it's well-placed light onto the road, yet you're not going to be offending someone or having issues with oncoming traffic. So those of you who are traveling 2-lane roads and things like that, these come in very handy. And again, they do offer more light than factory, and we will have a testing video showing that shortly. Now, getting to the back of the truck, it has the Go Fast camper, which they partnered with us on for the best in market clamshell camper. It acts as a camper shell with pop-top sides, and you're able to access all 3 sides of the bed when you need to. And when you need to sleep in the back, it works extremely well as a camper. So it's a very unique solution for those of you who are not familiar. I know a lot of our followers are, and we did a complete video on visiting their facility as well. Now, to line the bed, we went with the Icky Concepts Molle panels. Now, this is a 3-side panel package that allows us to mount kind of whatever we need, wherever we need to on the bed. You'll notice we have their spare tire mount, which gives us the ability to carry a 37-inch spare, where we wouldn't be able to use that underneath the truck due to the amount of suspension travel, as well as some of the factory bracketry underneath. Next to the spare, we went with the Icky Concepts Pro Eagle jack mount. That's going to allow us to mount a Pro Eagle off-road jack right next to the spare. So to do get in a situation where we need to change a tire, we have an off-road jack quickly at our disposal that works extremely well. It's fully adjustable, rolls through the dirt, and is a really cool solution for those looking for an off-road jack. Next, we mounted the ARB compressor, our Switch Pros, and a handful of other accessories, basically the whole Icky Concepts catalog. And this kind of allows us to store some of the camping equipment, some of the off-road equipment that is necessary. I personally outfitted this truck for a weekend hunting rig. However, in this video, you'll see that we added an additional spare tire just in case we killed one of these tires down in Mexico. But even hitting it into every single cactus and rock we could find, we actually did not pop a single tire while we were down there. Now, one thing we don't mention enough in our videos about off-roading is bed supports, especially when you have a camper putting all that weight on the bed rails. You start beating on the truck off-road, you're gonna notice your bed flare out. This truck is running the patent fabrication bed supports, which are an adjustable preload bed support that can bring that truck back into factory spec, which is especially handy if you've already tweaked your bed like we did, kind of on accident. Now, it is very advantageous to put these bed supports before you do any hard off-roading, and that's gonna allow you the ability to just pop the pins out and get full use of their bed. So it's a very cool product, and we'll have those linked down below as well. So we hope this video would serve as a perfect template for those of you guys looking to build a Ram 2500 into an adventure rig. Some of you are gonna go for the Power Wagon, some of you guys are gonna go for the diesel, and that's all right, because still, I think this is a good blueprint for you guys out there. A lightweight camper setup, not bringing everything along in the bed of your truck, including your kitchen sink and a toilet, and just building an overall package that's able to do low speed off-roading. This truck again has the disconnecting sway bar, it gets full articulation, a class-leading suspension system that can also go at extreme speeds through whoops. It can corner well. You're not going to get weird handling characteristics because this camper is set up properly with the R2 coils, and also not just too heavy of a camper like a lot of guys tend to do on 2500s. It just makes for a very well-rounded adventure package. Now, those of you who are looking to bring your toilet, your shower, and all that, might want to look at an RV. This is just an absolutely bad to the bone package that allows you to do everything you want on a weekend and more with ease. So if you're not subscribed to our channel, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. We'll be dropping a lot more videos in 2023. We're hoping to even get a couple more adventure videos out there. We had plans to do a hunting video, however, my hunting season did not go quite as planned this year, so maybe next year. But we do plan to do a lot more off-roading videos moving forward. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below, shoot us an email, give us a call. We're happy to help, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.